I had sort of an embarrassing moment as a coach. I think my second year here, and we had just hired a new coach, and the guys loved him. Dave Lee, who's now the coach at my alma mater, Elmwood High School. He was fresh out of college and worked real well with the kids. And we were coming out of the office one day, and Don Ramey asked me. He said, "Bill, how's the new guy working out?" And I said, "He's fantastic." I said, just what I said. The guys love him. He works hard with them. As we walked down toward the cafeteria where we were practicing at that time, these guys had Coach Lee mat taped up. They had his arms taped and his legs taped. And Coach Lee was wiggling in the hallway as me and Mr. Ramey walked that way, and Mr. Ramey just turned and walked the other way and just kind of let me handle it, which was nice. It created it to being a funny situation versus a bad situation. But I think Coach Lee beat everybody up in practice for about a year after that. But that was pretty funny. Getting Matt taped up.
Well, you talk about coaches. You talk about your assistant coach that was in that photo, Mitch in the middle. Who was your assistant?
That at that time was a guy named Mac Darnell. We call him Scooter Darnell, and he was up at ATI in turf management. And his brother was a coach at Dublin High School, and told me about his brother living in Worcester, and I got connected with him that way. He was fantastic. I had great assistants when I was here at Waynedale. I had different ones every year because they were young guys. They were either moving through college or moving on, but we had some great assistants, guys that would wrestle every day with the kids in practice and really pushed it. And he was a good one. Darnell the first year, that we had Dave Lee, a guy named Tim Glazer, and Paul Mathewson from Worcester also helped out your coach.
You guys look like twins in that photo. You got with the suits on.
Yeah, we were back in the beards back in the day. We were big into the beards.
Well, Mitch, you have an older brother, Kim. You want to kind of talk a little bit about him and his wrestling career?
Sure. My brother Kim was a heavyweight. Wrestled, graduated in '78. Hope I get that right, brother. '78. He was, from a wrestling standpoint, took fifth in the state. Really kind of paved the way for me. If you look at wrestling families, the youngest tends to reap the rewards of the grain sowed in the early years, and that's definitely our family. But I think if you look at my brother Kim, much more of a dominating wrestler than I ever was. And Kim was the ultimate success story. His freshman year in high school, they put him out on the mats. I don't even know if he won a match. I know he got pinned. If he wrestled 16 times, I know he got pinned 15 of those 16 times. And lo and behold, 4 years later, when he's a senior, he was the closer of matches. If they were down by 5 points and they needed 6, my brother would produce the pin to make that happen. Took fifth in the state, went on to wrestling college, was participated in the national tournament as a wrestler. And I think Kim, unlike me, brought the educational piece to the puzzle. He's now a PhD of chemistry, and he's a professor down at Ohio Wesleyan. So I think he had the whole package, not just the dominating wrestling, but the high achiever in education too.
Kim and I were college teammates. In fact, we lived on the same floor, same dorm. We were teammates and shared the same floor there at Clayton Hall at Ashland. That's how we got to know each other.
I'll tell a story. If you want to look at how things progress in life. When I was 12 years old, I went to see my brother Kim in college, and I got to hang out in a guy's room, one of his buddies' wrestling room in their dorm. And that buddy was Bill Mcgrain. And I was a snotty little 12-year-old telling him that I was going to be a state champion someday on the front pages of the Sports Illustrated. And I'm sure he looked at me and kind of chuckled and said, "Yeah, kid." And lo and behold, comes around my sophomore year, there was question whether wrestling was even going to continue at the high school. At that point, my father got a hold of Bill, and a few other people helped the process, and Bill got brought in as a head coach. So here this guy that was once my hero as a 12-year-old became my coach. That year I became a state champion underneath him. I went college. He kind of guided me through college at times when I was, wrestling in the collegiate level. There's times you question, why am I doing this? What am I doing it for? I always had that rock back at home to go back to talk to. Lo and behold, I graduate from college. I go get a job. I end up in the Cleveland area where I'm living in a house. And we decide to move, and we buy a house in the same community where Bill's the head coach now. That man who was once my hero, now my coach, has now become my peer. My 10-year-old started wrestling about 2 or 3 years ago in the Pee Wee program, and there's something special about standing on the side of the mats and watching that same person coaching your child.
That's awesome.
And that's a neat thing that the sport has brought to me, and that Waynedale brought to me.
That's great. Okay, Bill and Tracy, I know you guys have very special memories here at high school. Just tell me a little bit about how you guys met. If you can remember. If you.
Well, ironically, I knew the Jacobs family about a year and a half before I knew Tracy. Harv was very involved with the Booster Club and real wrestling supporter, so got to know Harv very well through the Booster Club, and then her brother Randy was my middle school wrestling coach, and knew the family for a long time. We spent some times out at the Jacobs house. We would use one of the barns out there for a mat in the summer. We put that down, and knew them for quite a while. And then after about a year and a half, 2 years of coaching here, all of a sudden Tracy showed up in a match one night and kind of caught my eye.
Actually, I was sitting in this gym. I'd gone back to watch one of my brother's middle school matches, and he, I guess, made a comment to my brother that he liked that chick that walked in the pink sweater, and it just so happened to be me, and my brother's like, "You're talking about her? That's my sister." So I guess to make a long story short,
Dodged a bullet there.
yeah, we will be married 20 years this August. Have 2 wonderful boys, a senior this year, Zach, and Chaz is an 8th grader. So I guess wrestling's what brought us together. And like he said, he knew my family long before I knew who he was, through my brother and my dad being very supportive in the program. I think my sister was on the track team when he coached the boys' track, Amy. So I guess that's kind of how it all started.